Having recently looked at the top prospect at each position for the 2027 NFL Draft in terms of my early board, I'm going to look at my top 10 overall board in this episode, but want to preface this by saying 7 of this 10 has already been covered by me recently in my last video discussing the top at each position. We only had 3 here in the top 10 that doubled up. So if you want to hear on those, and I'm going to list them out here as well, refer to the video in the comments. For example, at number 1, I had Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Already covered him as the top receiver on my board. Number 2, Leonard Moore, cornerback out of Notre Dame. Already covered him in the other video. Number 3, Arch Manning, quarterback out of Texas. Already covered him in the other video. Number 4, Colin Simmons, edge out of Texas. Already covered him in the other video. And then here at the 5th spot is where we have the first double up. And that being the 3rd Longhorn in my top 5, as ridiculous as that sounds, similar to Ohio State of last year. That's Cam Coleman, wide receiver. The Auburn transfer in most any class is your receiver 1. I think this is very paralleled to the A.J. Green, Julio Jones draft, where you looked up and said, 9 out of 10 drafts, Julio would be the first receiver taken. Just happened to line up at that same one with A.J. Green there. For Coleman at 6'3", 201 pounds. Very rare specimen in terms of the combination of grown man strength and track speed. You're talking about somebody with that much basketball power forward ability, but has been clocked at sub 4.42. Coming from, frankly, abysmal quarterback play at Auburn, that being really the driving force in this transfer outside of, obviously, that oil money's real at Texas. To be able to go and play with the number 3 overall prospect on my board in Arch Manning, that in itself was big, and it needed to be. You look at Coleman, Phoenix City, Alabama native, father played at Alabama State. Coleman's high school coach was Patrick Nix, father of Bo Nix, now the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. It was funny to hear out of Coleman, said, quote, "It wasn't hard. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do," in terms of this transfer. And I think there's a next level to this year in terms of his production. Just a vertical menace. Deep ball specialist, knows how to stack corners vertically, explosive, great acceleration. Really allows him to create those massive windows of separation for the quarterback. And that's coming from this poor play. We now see it with an offensive play caller and Steve Sarkisian, as fine as there is in college football. Then having Arch Manning at quarterback, Ryan Wingo on the other side of the field at receiver, and then this new running back tandem in Hollywood Smothers out of North Carolina State, the transfer, and then Raleek Brown from Arizona State. This is as high-powered of an offense as we can expect in college football this season. Enough at every level that defenses can't key in on just one of them. This was as good of an opportunity as Coleman was going to get. Love to hear from him personally. Another quote saying he's, quote, running way more routes in terms of spring ball, getting prepped for the season versus just kind of being that vertical threat that Auburn tried to line up. Being able to be moved around the formation more like he will in his rookie season in the NFL, being a top 5, just about a guaranteed top 10 pick in my opinion. And I mentioned the basketball aspects to him earlier and some of that power forwardness to him. Got stick-em hands. I mean, this is the guy who goes up, gets rebounds, knows how to box out defensive backs. A 50-50 ball situation, you're not winning this one. And pairing that with elite yard after catch ability. So much of that power. He's going to run through arm tackles. Going to have some violence to him. Turn minimal gains into chunk plays. Again, I think most any year. If Coleman had been in this past draft, he goes number 4 to the Titans, in my opinion, over Carnell Tate. He gets taken by the Saints over Jordan Tyson. You get the point. Coleman is right there tight. Though I have Jeremiah Smith at receiver 1, that's the main point of this video, outlining a top 10 to show the caliber of talent in this class that I can lay out my top at each position. Jeremiah Smith, the receiver, for example, and I'm still sitting here talking about a top 5 player on my board in Cam Coleman. That in itself, so impressive. Really like Coleman a lot. Number 6, we jump to Jordan Seaton. Already covered that in the past video. And then number 7, we jump into another double up here with Dylan Stewart, edge out of South Carolina. Is 6'5", 245 pounds. The physical traits are more impressive than that of Colin Simmons, but it's the consistency factor that wins out with Simmons. Simmons is much more consistent in the run game, right place, right time, a little more coached up to this point as far as what we have going into the season. He can take that next step this year out of Stewart, see a little bit more continuing to fill out that 6'5", 245-pound frame, and that might be 245 pounds after a good meal with a wet towel around his waist. But he is a freak athlete. And you're talking about insane length, lives in opposing backfields. And statistically, it's not just sacks. It's the pressure rate as well. But, 11 career sacks, 6 forced fumbles worth of ball production. He can single-handedly derail an offensive game plan. The bend is as good as you're going to see. It's spooky. It looks sped up. Great ghost move. Knows how to dip his shoulder. An insane amount of explosiveness getting to the quarterback or the ball carrier. The ability to turn the corner at an angle, get straight line like that. It's as good as you're going to find. It is top 5 pick, top 10 pick caliber. His ability to convert speed to power as well. And again, that power profile is going to just come more and more and more. You're talking about somebody under 21 years of age as he continues to fill out that really lengthy 6'5" frame. And a great football IQ. I talked about Simmons' consistency, being in the right place at the right time. It can continue to come for Stewart as we go into this next year. He's inevitably going to declare after the season will be his last one in Columbia. And just that lateral twitch, lastly, you got to mention it. His ability to dip into the B gap and use that power profile that he has at this point and can improve, and able to win with quickness, his agility to be able to just cut hard and go. Stewart's got all the makings of being an edge one, being a top 5 pick. There's a lot of years we could discuss him as a top 3 pick. Love to mention him in this video. Haven't already looked at the top at a position. But again, just like receiver being this tight, edge is this tight for myself and should be for the majority of people that cover the draft in any capacity. And then at number 8, that's Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. 6'3", 206 pounds. I'm not a soothsayer, but I can tell you, if he had declared for this past draft, he's a New York Jet at number 2 with respect to David Bailey. He might end up still being the number 2 overall pick in this next class, and even more specifically, he might still end up being a New York Jet in this next class, following this season of Geno Smith we're going to see from a team really taking their time with a rebuild. Really, this is a point guard at quarterback that knows to get the ball to his playmakers, cleanly prioritizes it in space, has an advanced ability to process. He's going to lead his targets. You're not coming back for the ball. You're not having a shimmy, keeping your momentum going forward. And statistically strong. A 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio last season, manning the team for Dan Lanning. That was a cute little rhyme right there. 72% completion rate. If he can add to those, let alone just keep them. That's more than enough here to have him in those top 3, top 5, top 10 pick conversations. And got to preface it, though we know Moore will be going into this draft, for all we know, Arch Manning's not in it. There is very much a world where Moore comes into the season, he's a serious Heisman contender, possibly winning the thing. Very much a world he comes into the season, and he's walking out as the number 1 overall pick. As it stands today, power rankings would project the Arizona Cardinals having the top pick. They'd have to take Moore in that situation were Arch Manning not to be in the draft. But again, just pro-style habits, a lot of under-center experience up to this point. A lot of conversation about Fernando Mendoza really having as minimal as you would find, like 1-2% kind of minimal snaps under center collegiately, translating that to a play caller and a new head coach in Clint Kubiak, who is one of the top under center play callers in terms of his quarterback play in the NFL. There's going to be some having to merge those together. Moore really would have been more of that fit as far as just day one versus that of Mendoza. But even adding to it even more, his specialty in the red zone and attacking the seams. We talk so much of really separating men from the boys as far as NFL quarterbacks and some of that top flight, top 15 in the league is the ability to attack the seams, to combat all these cover 2 defenses we're seeing, and Moore is that. So don't hear this point guard mentality and think that it's game management. It's not. It's passing the ball off to the scorers, the playmakers, but also getting it there in the tightest of windows. To have 19 college starts up to this point for the former 5-star will stack, assuming health, upwards of 30 starts this season as the Oregon Ducks take another run at the college football playoff. This is all the makings of somebody that's going to come and be a top 10 pick. And I lied, actually. There's 4 new guys in here. I said 3. I was incorrect. In the 9th spot, Ellis Robinson IV out of Georgia, coming in at corner 2 for me. 6 foot, 180 pounds. That frame's going to continue to fill out. Though he is recognized as a press man corner at that spot, former top 3 overall recruit in the country in the class with Jeremiah Smith. You really just saw that kind of getting flip-flopped one way or the other as far as the top player, and a damn good call either way. He erased opposing passing games last season. I mean, 6 games allowing 0 catches to opposing receivers. Only 1 game that he allowed multiple catches, and that was 2. When targeted, allowed only 15 receptions the whole year and walked away with 4 interceptions. Unbelievable ball production, unbelievable efficiency, unbelievable natural talent. It's only going to get better with a bigger frame. Again, he's long, physical, the press man ability that's going to translate to the NFL. Very disruptive at the line of scrimmage and at the catch point. Hips are so fluid. I mean, this guy can turn, he can flip and run without having to decelerate. Being able to kick up that acceleration, triggering coming downhill, and pairing that with the ability to mirror route breaks from opposing teams' receiver 1. Stellar and true man-to-man situations. And, has the closing speed, as we mentioned, for those off-man scenarios. Defensive coordinators in the league are going to fall in love with this guy. I see a lot of conversations as far as, while Leonard Moore, for the most part,
it's going to bode well in their favor. King. Downfield strike. Wow, what an effort by Ellis.
And then rounding it out, like I said, having looked at 4 new ones compared to that last video we did looking at the top at each position, and that link will be in the bio below. David Stone, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. And there's a lot of good names there. Very high on Amari Washington out of Oregon, for example. I've mentioned him. But you can catch that over there as well. It's going to be a lot of competition as far as the high-end talent in this class. Looking to, in the next few videos, to look at 11 through 20 on my early big board for the 2027 NFL draft class.